For characters, I mean, there's old Ray. He's 700 years old. He goes driving around on the Speleodoncus, a sort of bicycle that he built on his own as a child.
So looking over all this carnage before me, all I see is someone who has no idea how to perform standard Mully comment. You are a fool. Get out of this arena.
Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. It is a gray and diffuse morning, just as it has been for at least the last week. Usually the clouds burn off and then come back in the evening time. Yesterday it actually rained a little bit in the afternoon, but it was humid and sticky and awful. Even though it didn't get really warm because of the humidity, it was nasty. Thumbs up for that. I didn't sleep well, and I have what I hope is just a knot now right next to my shoulder blade, developed like 2 days ago. It's even hard to sleep, so I'm kind of worried about that. Oh joy. And of course, front loading of videos. Hey, if you like what you see in here, if you could hit the like button. If you like what you see in here, if you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And of course, if you'll leave me a comment, that'd be awesome. And I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful and awesome people that are literally beautiful and literally awesome, helping to keep me and my pets alive. I appreciate that. Without these people's help, I would be homeless. And that would lead to me being dead pretty soon after. So thank you for me and all of my pets. We do appreciate that. Thumbs up and thank you very, very much. If you'd like to become a patron, links are in the video description. Show more. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, there's a PayPal link. And if you'd like to help me out without sending any money, there's an Amazon wishlist link with stuff like cat food on it. So thumbs up. And hey, front loading of videos over. Yay! Yeah, I'm hoping that that's just a knot back there and not like a complication of something awful. I mean, could be a growth, could be a tumor, could be anything. The problem is all of the things that I'm worrying about right now, everything's manifesting in one area. It's like, I'm worried about my kidneys. Well, the pain that I'm getting stuff in, aside from what I have right there right now, it's hurting in that area where a kidney would hurt. I have lung things that I want to worry about, I have to. Calcified nodes in the bases of my lungs. Could be a bad thing. If it was, it could hurt right there. So that's two things. There's a possible skin cancer issue. And if it is, well, it's hurting right in that same spot. And with my scoliosis, with the knots in my muscles that I get, it hurts all right back there, same spot. Every single thing that I'm worried about is showing a possible symptom in that one area. I have an entire body that symptoms could be showing up in. And yet it's a 1x1 square on my back where everything is happening. And it's like, good God. So yeah, I'm gonna call up the VA and talk to one of the nurses there and see what they say to do, because it kept me up last night, hard to sleep, propping up my arm, because it's largely anatomical for that pain. But because it's anatomical, could be if it's irritating a tumor, or could be just because of a knot, because of my scoliosis. Joy. Still though, I'm not going to worry too much about that because I can't change it by worrying about it. All I can do is make phone calls and hope. Yay. Oh, and there's a fly buzzing around in the room. Joy. Once again, I keep my windows open 24/7, 365, no matter what the weather is, because I need moving air. Stagnant air just makes me feel sick. So I keep my window open all the time. I usually have the fan going. I just turn it off to record. And whew, I am heating up. Thumbs up for that. So, but past that, I've just been trying to survive. And it was a weekend, and so I watched videos, I played games, I fell asleep in my computer chair here far more than I should. Because again, I have apnea. Excuse me. sleep apnea, where, I stop breathing when I sleep. Thing is, I don't just do that when I'm sleeping. I sometimes have periods where I have to manually breathe when I'm awake. Otherwise, I don't. Where I just noticed I've stopped breathing. That's why I'm feeling like I'm suffocating. And so it's just ugh. And of course, it's not obstructive apnea. It is central apnea, where my brain just forgets to tell my lungs to breathe. Happy days. Still though, I survived, went on walkies, and that was good. It's a good 6-mile walk, and that's good. It's good for my legs, good for my heart, and I have an appointment next month, and I'm going to be talking about heart issues because, boy, I got a big old crease in that ear now, and a crease in your earlobe is kind of a big indication of heart issues. And when they took an EEG on me, they did find some damage. I don't know if it was because of the Ritalin that I was on or just because I'm getting older, because I've never had that issue before until I was taking Ritalin. But then I am older, so I don't know. Yay. Thumbs up. And of course, A is for Amagaratsu. That is how this is spelled, and that is how this is actually pronounced. The A sound is an ah. Well, the A is pronounced with an ah. The I sound letter is pronounced as an E. The E sound letter is pronounced as A, so ah. And then the Z is a TS sound, and of course that's just an oo. So Amagaratsu. Yay, mother of all. And of course, when they say mother of all in the cosmic horror framework, they're only referring to her 12 children, because in the cosmic horror framework, to the cosmic horrors themselves, Amagaratsu and her 12 children, they are all. Anything else alive really doesn't matter. There's the only ones that count are Amagaratsu, the Gakira, and her children, the 12 Ongakira. So, yay! Just a bit of cosmic horror framework stuff, because that's just the larger meta with the whole inside-outside setting, because the whole inside-outside Razor's Edge setting I'm doing the whole big Razor's Edge project of is a part of the whole cosmic horror framework. So thumbs up for that. Yeah. And the only other stuff that I've got on my list is things that I wanted to talk about for the creative the creative side of things, where, again, if you don't like to listen to that sort of thing, I am very sorry, but I'm going to spend some time raving about it because it's still a project that I'm trying to get done, where it's the whole a day in the life, a year on the Razor's Edge, and it is a slice of life story that takes place over one full year. But in that time, about Chapter 2 is when the Kaiju goes rampaging and eats 12,000 people in Apple Rock. And then the rest of the time is just what happens as that year goes by and how people are recovering and how they're dealing with all of the other things. So all of this is tied into that. And of course, I wanted to quickly just mention the wild and bizarre array of characters you can get, because the whole Razor's Edge is an untamable, unending frontier, just because there is so much that is available there. And I'll have to explain fully on that one again if you're new and you don't know what I mean. But for characters, I mean, there's old Ray. He's 700 years old. He goes driving around on the Speleodonkus, a sort of bicycle that he built on his own as a child and is a sentient being in its own right. And for 700 years, they've been wandering around and just doing things and having fun. And there's Iron John, who his civilization and culture died 1.4 million years ago. But he's here and doing stuff. And then there's Henrik Ibden, who of course has a stare down with the Kaiju during its last rampage, and he survives the encounter. And he's actually a several hundred-year-old doppelganger who uses this, well, doesn't use, but because of this situation, has an existential crisis and realizes fully that, yes, they are a doppelganger that has to eat human beings to survive, but they are not a monster. They are a man. So there's wild and bizarre characters, and the towns that are there are all odd in their own way. I mean, there's the town of Grumper's Toad, where 300 years ago, Grumper found this toad. And now, 300 years later, after Grumper's death, the toad's still alive, and it's part of the town council. And the town of Tall Ned, named after Tall Ned, who's still alive hundreds of years later, because Tall Ned ain't human. About 12 feet tall, though. Very tall, that Ned. And of course, Apple Rock, with the Apple Rock Kaiju up on Apple Rock Mountain on this clearing overlooking the town. And every 5 years or so, it comes down and rampages through the town, eating people, destroying things. Nobody understands this Kaiju. Everybody thinks they understand it, but that's why it will continue to run roughshod. Great, I got little tiny bugs here now. It will continue to run roughshod. No one understands what this thing is. It has survived over 1 trillion years at 3 billion year cycles. It has only been conscious and awake for 2/3 of those trillion years, and has been in torpor for 1/3 of it as well. But it has survived that long. Nobody knows this. They just think of it as a beast. They don't realize how strong and powerful this is. Part of it by design, and partly because it's just deep time. The inside runs in cycles of 3 billion years, a time of plenty, when there is energy flowing across the razor's edge and there are human beings everywhere, a time of want, when energy starts to run out and population starts to fall, and then the time of torpor, when even the Kaiju has to sleep because there's no more people for it to eat, and it is in torpor trying to survive this time. It is a bizarre and wild place. And that's a good thing. But I've mentioned before that there are different levels of smartness. There is the King in Crimson on the inside that is the king of the Crimson Kingdom. If human beings could quantify our capacity for quality thought in liquid, average human beings have a liter of this liquid. And that's pretty good. Being able to boil down our capacity for good thought into a liter like that is actually a pretty good amount compared. So it's just trying to put things in relative terms. If you took all 8 billion human beings out here on the planet Earth and poured all of these liters together, that huge amount of quality thinking possibility is still only about half of just the King in Crimson's possibilities. It as a liquid is more than double what the entire population out here on the Earth is. It is dragging humanity forward on the inside and also learning as well, because even though it has all that capacity, it is still figuring out the world and people and itself. It has the capacity for this incredible thought. That doesn't mean it's always going to be able to use it. And then, of course, there's Utok. Utok, this vile, and I would call it evil thing that also has to eat human beings to survive, but it doesn't hate us. It just finds that devouring us with when we're in extreme agony and in extreme mental pain, we're more delicious, so it just makes us hurt as it devours us. It takes about a week. It's the most horrific thing that can happen before Utok ever gets his claws into you. If you can end your own game before that, do so. Do so. But even that, Utok has over twice the capacity that the King in Crimson has. But being an ambush predator with no desires for colonialization or being imperial or trying to expand, none of that. Utok doesn't care about that. Utok is happy with its own domain. And so, we have the Kaiju. I also have a little tiny bug that's flown in, and it keeps going right up against the lens. So if you see that, there's a little tiny like fruit fly that flew in through the window. I'm being annoying like all fruit flies are. But even this, Utok, compared to the Kaiju, the Apple Rock Kaiju, is a single drop compared to the 10 or more Olympic-size overfilled swimming pools that the Kaiju has. It is intelligent and powerful, and it has abilities that are beyond our capability and understanding. Within the realm of the Razor's Edge, it is indeed a dark and malevolent god of death, destruction, and suffering. It has no capacity for creation, so it is not an actual god. But its abilities are far beyond what anybody ever thinks. Thumbs up for that. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to talk about cryptids, because I wanted to talk about what happens to poor people who do have their cryptid genes expressed, and while they are mentally healthy, their cryptid is mentally ill, because oh boy, that sucks. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments on my community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. That sort of makes sense, doesn't it? If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended, and if I count American Sign Language. Oh boy, my brain is just gone here all of a sudden. My sincere apologies. All of a sudden. So, let me call up my Chrome. We have JAYY. One day I'm going to have to actually watch the rest of Centaur World, because, oh boy, I loved what I've seen. So far, I've only watched the first episode. But while it was just a little bit more cutesy in ways than I liked, it was so dark and grim. Oh my God, I loved it. We have Ben, thumbs up and thank you. We have Greasy Rhino. I am very, very sorry. Please remember 988 if you're ever having mental issues. Please, everybody, if you live in the United States and you're having any sort of mental crisis, 988. We have Bill Lolly. Thumbs up, and oh boy, my arm is it's never really healed properly, even now, years later. It's like a club with fingers if I'm not paying attention to it, and it always hurts. Yeah, I severed my radial nerve, and for years my hand was just paralyzed and wouldn't work. So the nerves do grow back and heal, but oh, it just doesn't work well. Ben B, thumbs up and thank you, and good luck. And then there's TUYENHOA, Vietnamese fellow, or fellow S, or whoever. I'm using a Vietnamese human being that left a comment, and thank you. Loco5, thumbs up, and thank you very much. And I'll have to talk, the Kaiju is worthy of a lot of talk. More than I'm usually able to give it. Thank you very much. Good to see you in comments. We have Kev Cal, thumbs up, and you are very correct on that. And Jesse Koskinen, thumbs up, and I hope things go well. I hope you don't fade away. It's always nice to see your name in the comments. So thumbs up and thank you. And hey, thank you each and every one of you for having left a comment. You get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, if only in text and if only for a short time. Still, thank you very, very much. It is appreciated. And of course, I was going to leap into the whole Kofefe bug part, but then I remembered, hey, just try to do what you can do during the day, and if you have to go into survival mode to make it through the day, then that's good too. I started my Wellbutrin like a day and a half ago. for ADHD, and it's also an antidepressant. So I'm going to be getting the antidepressant effect, hopefully along with the anti-ADHD effect. So here, thumbs up for me, and thumbs up for you, and thumbs up for absolutely everybody. And of course now, with the Covfefe bug raging, please just be appropriately smart. Take appropriate precautions for your area and situation. And of course, getting vaxxed and getting a booster is going to help with that a lot. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is a very good thing.